morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's that time that we usually check in on Wednesdays, 10 a.m., to do this that we call Coffee with PC. This is the first time in a while. I'll get to that in just a minute. But of course, you know I can't do this without my trusty cup of coffee. I gotta say, Price, and he actually has sold me. It's his favorite one, and he keeps asking to have that in the rotation. It's called Double Double from the Portrait Brewing or Roasting Company in Atlanta. And he got it, and he loves it, and I kind of liked it a little bit, but the more I drink it, the more I like it. So Double Double right here. Some medium roast. I know, shocking. One of my coffees that's probably the most popular in the rotation, a medium roast coffee. But they say that a lighter roast actually has more caffeine than a darker roast. I'm not sure how that all works, but that's the rumor. So I'll take that Double Double and keep me going this Wednesday morning. I hope you're having a good week. It is August already. I can't believe that we're going to start school a week from today. Things are getting ramped up, whether it's Caroline up in West Palm getting ready for her class, or locally here in Monroe County, all our teachers getting ready for the start of school. It's that time of year. It's when we restart things, which is why I guess you could say I'm restarting Coffee with PC. Now, true confessions, when I looked back at the schedule, the last time was early in June, was right before our family went on vacation. So I recorded that one, I posted that one, you saw that one in June, and then we went on vacation. And I didn't intend for those couple of weeks that we were vacating to do these Coffee with PCs. I was going to just kind of take everything off the plate, everything off the table, and enjoy family, enjoy friends, enjoy time away. But what happened was, when the next week rolled around, maybe because, trying to get back in the routine early in the week and catch back up, when Wednesday came around, totally forgot. Actually, for a few weeks, totally forgot on Wednesdays to do Coffee with PC. And somebody asked me that. Somebody said, hey, are you not doing Coffee with PC anymore? I'm like, oh, wow. And it occurred to me when they asked that, I have forgotten to do that. So the number one excuse I have isn't a very good one. It's just I simply forgot. I got in the habit of other things. And then as it moved into July, we had Bible school. And even after they said that, I intended to start it up, but other things distracted me. So I said, you know what? I'm going to wait till August. So for those of you who have asked or have been curious why there's been no Coffee with PC, simply because it slipped my mind. I got out of the habit over vacation and haven't gotten back into the habit. I mean, that's an interesting thing right there. They say, whoever they are, we say they say, I don't have the study in front of me, but I've read this and heard this statistic before, that it takes 3 weeks to build a habit in your life. Now, I know we only do this once a week, but maybe for me, I could see that happening. After 2 weeks off and then a week forgetting, it was just totally gone out of my mind. In just a few weeks, it's easy to get out of what was, I hope, a good habit. And on the other hand, I guess we could say 3 weeks to get into a good habit, whether that's getting back in the routine of putting Coffee with PC out every week, or maybe there's a habit in your life that you want to build. Hey, listen, 3 weeks, just tell yourself, I can do this for 3 weeks. I can read my Bible every day for 3 weeks. I can work out every day for 3 weeks. There's all sorts of habits, good habits we can build, but to know that 21 days seems to be somewhat sort of a psychological marker. Now, it's not hard and fast, but it seems to be pretty consistent. Just in 21 days, we can build into our lives, or in this case, build out of our lives, habits. So be encouraged by that. That's my little tiny itty bitty little nugget. That's not chapter and verse. I don't have my Bible here with me to say, let's look at this text. That's not a scriptural principle that I can put my finger on necessarily, that 3 week time frame, though there are many encouragements in the Bible to be consistent about particularly our spiritual life, our spiritual disciplines, building into our lives those things that are important to us, whether it's corporate worship, whether it's small group Bible study, whether it's personal Bible study and prayer, and all of the things. I don't mean to give you a laundry to-do list today. That's not my desire either. But if there are some things that you think would benefit you in your spiritual life, in your relationship with God through Jesus, 3 weeks, 21 days, just tell yourself, I'm going to try this for 21 days, and you might be surprised that it'll build into your life enough of a habit to make it stick. Now, let me switch gears and say what I wanted to say, what I was kind of thinking in the back of my mind as we get ready to get back into this habit of Coffee with PC. I'm actually wanting to ask for your help. I want, for the last couple of years or so, we started this, I think, in 2020. I started putting these videos up first twice a week, and then we scaled back to once a week pretty much consistently through a couple of years. I've kind of come up pretty much with my own idea. Maybe it's something I was reading that week, or maybe it's something on Sunday I was preaching or teaching about that I didn't quite get to. Maybe an extra note, an extra aside in my notes that I wanted to fill in. Or maybe it was just to add something to that sermon. Or maybe it was just totally out of the blue. It didn't have anything to do with anything that was going on here in church world, but just something that God had sort of laid on me and been speaking to me about, and I wanted to share it. It's come basically, I guess all of that is I was the source in many ways of what Coffee with PC was, some things that I had thoughts about and felt pressed to share in this arena. So I thought going forward it might be good if you wouldn't mind if I could ask for your help. I imagine from time to time there are things you might think, I wonder what PC would say about this. Or maybe it's in your personal reading of scripture or a sermon you heard, something came up and just got you thinking, and you have a question about something in the Bible. I would like to know what that question is, and I would use one of our Wednesday Coffee with PC chats to answer that question. Maybe it's very specifically something I said in a sermon. Maybe you heard it here on a Sunday as we've been lately going through the book of Acts. We've been talking about the early church, and that's brought up a lot of different things, whether it's descriptive or prescriptive, and how that hopefully works itself out. How, though we have our own habits and patterns, we're seeing in the book of Acts the earliest habits and patterns of the church, and trying to suss out what we need to hold on to make part of the prescription that God has given for how we should follow him as his church, and what just told us the crazy, even miraculous things that happened in the earliest days of the church. Maybe you have questions about that, or maybe in a particular sermon I mentioned something but didn't really build into it. I just kind of said it in passing, and that really got you thinking. I'd like to know what that is, and I might want to take one of these Wednesdays to flesh that out a little bit, to give some more background or detail or information to what that means. Maybe you're a part of our Wednesday journey through the Hebrew Bible. By the way, I have absolutely loved doing that. I don't know if anybody that's come for the last, close to 40 sessions, the last several months, has gotten anywhere near out of it as what I have gotten out of it. It's just been so helpful, kind of the big picture that we've been looking at the Hebrew Bible, or the Old Testament, as we call it typically in our Bible, the scriptures of the Jewish people, that when we're in the New Testament and they talk about the scriptures, it's what they're talking about. When in the book of Acts just this week, it talks about Apollos was well versed in the scriptures and how the scriptures pointed to Jesus. He was talking about what we call the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible, the law, the prophets, the writings. Maybe we've said something if you've been a part of those Wednesday sessions, or maybe you've seen them online. We post them on our YouTube channel for people to watch after the fact, pretty much. Maybe you've seen something, I've mentioned it, and you're like, I want to know more. You just kind of, because the nature of that study is usually we're covering a whole book in 1 hour, in one session. And that's impossible. Even the shortest of books are difficult to adequately treat, and we don't often get into the text itself. We look at big picture themes and story arcs and principles and how it fits in to the flow of the story of God's revelation of himself. Maybe there's something on that study that you were a part of or seen, and you're like, I'd like to know a little more. Maybe it's just maybe it's a conversation you got in with somebody, and they ask you some questions because they knew you were a person of faith, and you just, maybe thought, I don't know, I'd have to think about that, or you're trying to figure out how to respond, or they had something that challenged you, and you're personally just going, I'm struggling with this. What can we say? I would love to know what those are, and we can maybe find a Wednesday to talk about those things. I'm not going to promise, depending on the response, that necessarily I'll do every one. Some are, we just have about 10 or 15 minutes when we do it this way. Some are more conducive to a short discussion. Some might just be too much, and it might be too big of a bite to take. And so I might have to defer on some of those. But nonetheless, I would love to have your input. I would love to have your feedback on some of the things, particularly as it relates to the Bible, to the doctrines, to the study of the scriptures, that I might be able to answer or fill in some blanks from my understanding. I don't have all the answers. I said that Sunday. I certainly don't. I'm a learner. I'm a studier, just like anyone and everyone else. I'm doing my best to accurately understand and apply, both personally and corporately in our church, God's revealed truth of His Word. And so, I'm in the process. I don't have all the answers. So sometimes the answer might be, I don't know. I'll have to get back to you as well. But if you have some things that you think it might be helpful, not just for you, but for others on these Wednesdays, let me know. You can do that in a variety of ways. By the way, let me say this. A lot of people have a question like, nobody else cares. You'd be surprised. Very rarely do people ask me questions, particularly about Bible, church theology and whatnot, that many other people haven't thought the same thing. There are lots of things like that. Rarely there's no such thing as a stupid question. Used to be our rule in college and in seminary, ask away. And so please do that. How do you ask might be your next question. Well, you can respond in any of the places where you see this video. If you're watching our put it on Facebook Live every Wednesday at 10, that's when it kind of pops up there. You can just put in the comments if you have something, if you have an issue, a question, an area that you'd like to hear more about. Just type it in. Hey, this is what I'd like to hear. Perhaps you catch us through our YouTube, our church YouTube channel, which is where that Journey Through the Hebrew Bible, and where we post these as well. You can comment on YouTube, and that comes right to whenever anybody comments on one of our YouTube videos, whether it's the Journey Through the Hebrew Bible or Coffee with PC or whatever, I get the notification. I get an email personally that says such and so made a comment. So I would see that if you want to. That's where you watch us. On our church website, we have a page that's Coffee with PC, the pastor's blog, that sort of thing. I don't know what exactly it's called. Usually at the top menu, it says Coffee with PC, and you can click on there, and the most recent one is right there. You can use that same website, our church website, and find my email and write me an email. I'll actually put a note with this week's posting on Coffee with PC. I'll make sure it's there, so you can just click it. It'll be up there maybe when you're watching this or shortly thereafter. So you can just click that and send me that email. Say, hey, here's something on Wednesdays I might like you to talk about. So that would be helpful to me. Just a little bit of your feedback helping me make this a worthwhile thing looking ahead. I don't know how much longer we'll do this, but certainly I want to keep it going, and I'd love to hear from you to know the kinds of things that on Wednesdays would be most helpful or most interesting to you to hear. So do me that favor. I would appreciate it. I'm going to take my cup of coffee back over to the office, sit back down, and finish working up tonight's lesson for the Journey Through the Hebrew Bible. We're in the book of Ezra. Actually, Ezra and Nehemiah is a single scroll, but we're going to focus on the Ezra part of that tonight. Really fascinating historical data in there. We're on the timeline way at the end. Ezra and Nehemiah, the last historical parts of the Hebrew Bible, and almost the next to the last. There's just two scrolls left, or two books left, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Chronicles, and then we'll be through the Hebrew Bible. We'll probably break them down into 4 weeks: Ezra, Nehemiah, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, and go from there. But we'll look at that these next few weeks. So I'm going to go get ready. Love to have you join us tonight at 6 online or in person. But either way, whatever the rest of your day holds, thanks for spending a few minutes with me, and I hope you have a great Wednesday. Take care, everybody.